Hi guys, Lori here with Sew at Peace. In today's video, I'm going to be making a cup sleeve. So if you're new to my channel, I make handmade sewn items, and it has recently come to my attention, meaning today, that I'm not advertising my business enough. So we are gonna change that. You can shop my online shop at www.sewatpeace.store. And I appreciate all of your support. So let's get to it. I printed this pattern a while back for the Cup Cozy pattern. If it's a 12 to 16 ounce cup, and it's by Stitchwerx Designs. I believe it was a free pattern. So if you're interested, you can go to her website, and that's the way it's spelled. A friend of mine asked me to make a book sleeve for her using the Harry Potter fabric. So I made this for her yesterday, and I also made a bookmark to go with it. So same matching pattern. And then she asked me if I could make a cup sleeve. I made one for her a while back and she loves it. So she wanted one in the Harry Potter fabric. So that's what we're gonna be doing. This is what I have left from a fat quarter. So it's just enough to make a cup sleeve. So we're gonna be making this in real time so you guys can see exactly how long it takes, and I'm gonna time it as well. So I just went to Hobby Lobby and I got some muslin. I had 2 pieces of muslin and I put them in the washing machine and they like literally disappeared. I don't know what happened to them. I asked one kid and my significant other. So I only have one kid left to ask if he has seen it, but I figured why not just get some muslin? It's pretty inexpensive. So I got 1 yard of muslin and I use this to iron when I'm fusing things. So when I'm fusing my interfacing or fusible fleece, I put the muslin on top just to protect my iron. And I also got a 60mm Fiskars rotary cutter. So every time, I'm not even kidding you, every time I go to Hobby Lobby, I look at this and I do not purchase it. And then I, continue on. But today was the day that I took one home. I finally caved because I was working on something recently and my 45mm rotary cutter, which I love, I've had this thing forever, like literally forever. It just wasn't cutting it when I was trying to go through a lot of layers of fabric. So I finally decided that now is the time to buy a large rotary cutter. So now I have this 60mm rotary cutter. I have the 45 Olfa rotary cutter. And then I have this really tiny one. I think it's 28mm rotary cutter, which this one we're going to be using in this project. It's really great for going around curves and, patterns. So I'm going to use this. And I thought I had enough Insulbright, but I just looked at my stash and this is all I have left. So I think I have enough. Yes, I have barely enough for a cup sleeve. So this piece should do. I think this is cut for pot holders. So we're not going to use that. I'm going to use this piece and I'm going to put this rotary cutter away for now. Okay, so what next? All right, so we're going to put our pieces together. Okay, so I'm gonna start by putting my timer on, my stopwatch. So we got that going. I'm gonna put my main fabric and my lining fabric together. I don't think we wanna do that yet. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put my pattern piece on here and we're gonna use our pattern weights. I forgot I have pattern weights now. And then I'm just gonna start cutting. So in my last video, I asked some of you guys or everybody, if they prefer real-time videos or sped up sewing videos, and some of you guys said real-time videos. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm not gonna show everything, obviously, if I'm like bulk prepping something, but because that'd be a lot to show. But little things like this, I can definitely do in real time. And luckily this project, it's not gonna take too long, so the video shouldn't be too long. All right, I got my main and my lining piece, and you could try to cut the insole bright at the same time as your fabric, but I just wasn't sure if it would be too thick for this little rotary cutter. Oops, I think I cut my pattern. Okay, and the insole bright is, it looks like this. So it's just to insulate hot or cold beverages or hot or cold projects. Okay, so now we need some Velcro. So I'm gonna grab my Velcro. It's been a while since I made one of these, so I can't remember if I cut the insole bright shorter. I think I left it the last time and it was fine, so we're gonna go with that. And then there's a little guide on the pattern to show you how long to cut your Velcro, so that's what I'm using here. All right, and then I'm going to get a label. I'm just gonna go and baste stitch this all the way around. So I'm gonna baste stitch the insole bright to the main fabric. All right, I don't know if that recorded or not, so I'm gonna say this again, but we're not gonna do the base stitch since we cut our insole bright the same size as our main piece and our lining piece. We're just gonna sew everything together at the same time. We're gonna leave an opening here on the bottom so we can flip the project right side out. And I put my label here between my main piece and my lining piece. And we're gonna go over to the sewing machine and get started. All right, so I'm gonna start here on the bottom and we're gonna sew at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we're gonna use a 2.5 millimeter stitch length. And I'm just making sure that my label is where I want it. And I like to put a pin where I'm gonna flip my project just as a reminder because it's different than my clips. So we just left about a 2-inch opening. And I'm just gonna clip down the sides here. Not the sides, but the corners. All right, now we get to flip the project right side out. So we'll see how hard this is with my 2-inch opening. Not bad. Oh, I'm gonna turn my iron on. All right, got my iron on. And I'm gonna use my little poker, another little poker tool that I have. So I think these little things are called the Thing. And I got them on Amazon a while back. I got them because I wanted it to be like, to work in place as, you know, kind of like a stiletto. And I'm like, oh, it comes with 4 and it's cheaper or something like that. And so I bought these, but really after buying an actual stiletto, I realized that they are not the same. And the stiletto works so much better. So don't go skimpy if you want a stiletto, get the actual stiletto. These are really good for turning, like pointing out corners, poking out corners, but they don't really do the same job as a stiletto does. Okay, our corners look pretty good. We are going to press this flat. So I'll usually press around everywhere but the little flap, and then I'll do the flap. So I'm gonna focus on just this one side first, and then we'll worry about the lining piece and get that lined up with the front. Because it's hard to get them both lined up at the same time sometimes, so I just do one at a time. All right, so we're all ready to go. I'm gonna iron this. So we're gonna top stitch now using a 3mm stitch length, and we're gonna stitch very close to the edge. So we're gonna do about 1/8 of an inch stitch length. All right, and then I just check my little hole to make sure that I got everything in there and nothing's trying to come out. So if you notice that you didn't catch it all, then you just have to unpick it and then restitch along that edge. And you know what? I'm not really loving the way that that turned out right there. My black fabric kind of shifted, or it came out of the, it got like extended, if that makes sense. So it doesn't look completely even. So I'm just gonna restitch this area. All right. So since we're only like touching up this area, I'm gonna start a little bit before my existing stitches and extend a little bit after, just to make sure that these stitches are secure. All right, and then this is where I should have been using my stiletto. So the stiletto just helps to hold everything down. Where's our Velcro? Oh, here it is. Okay, so for the Velcro, we are going to, I don't know if there's a correct way to do this, but I usually put the soft side on like the outer portion, if that makes sense. So it's gonna flap like this, and then I'm gonna put the rough side here on the inner. So I like to do that just because, I don't know, that's why I do, that's just how I do it. Thought I was gonna have a good reason for you guys, but I don't. All right. We're gonna change our stitch length back to 2.5. All right, one side is on, so we're just gonna double check that we're putting this on here correctly. Yep, so we're gonna put this on this side. And there is a guide, like a template, if you use the pattern to show you exactly where you put the Velcro, but I just eyeball it. I don't think it needs to be super precise. All right, back stitch, and we're done. I bought these fancy Guggenheim snippers, but they're kind of hard to get like really close to your project. So I revert back to these cheap Amazon ones a lot of times, especially when I need to get the thread out when it creates the little nest. These ones work great. All right, we're done. That's what it looks like. It's pretty cute. Let's see where we are with time. So this would have been faster, but I messed up, as you saw. So it took 21 minutes. And I'm also filming and recording, so that also is a factor. I'm gonna go grab a cup real quick just so you can see what it looks like on a cup. All right, you guys, I'm a dork and I forgot that my cup was here in my studio. So went into the kitchen for nothing. So I have this cup. It's similar to maybe like a grande size at Starbucks. So it's pretty slender. And I'm gonna show you what this looks like on. Okay. So maybe not exactly like Starbucks, but maybe a little bit smaller. So it's not fitting on here exactly perfectly, but you get the gist of it. You can see what it looks like. So I think it turned out pretty cute. If you do use a darker fabric like this, I think they make black Velcro. I'm like pretty sure they do. So I would suggest using a black just because the white pops a lot. So, and if you don't have a good fit, then you can definitely see the white sticking out. But it works, so we're gonna roll with it. All right, guys, this concludes my video. It's probably gonna be a super quick one. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And again, if you would like to check out my shop, you can do so at sewatpeace.store. And I appreciate you guys following along, and I hope you have a joyful and peaceful day.